Hey, Bob Hayes here from AYSO Region 34, South Redondo Beach, California. Hopefully you've seen our first video on pregame for new refs. Now we're going to focus on positioning, mechanics, and procedures in game time situations. So let's get started.
Once we have completed our pregame and the players are on the field, we are ready to start the game. The center ref should take a quick glance to make sure all the defending team is out of the circle, players on their own side, and the ARs are in position with flags out. We talk about the center circle being a clock, with 12 o'clock being the direction of the attack, so we want to place ourselves at 7:30 for the kickoff. This gets us looking at the AR, in which will be the first direction of attack, and will get us closer to our starting diagonal. I usually say something like, "Here we go, ladies," and blow my whistle with a strong, medium-long blast while giving a brief arm signal. As you start, ease into your diagonal. You want to stay pretty close to play, but not directly behind or to the side of the action. Diagonal angles will usually give you the best view. It is occasionally okay to come off your diagonal. Just remember to keep the action between you and your AR, so he or she is always in your vision. Even if this is your first game as a referee, you will likely have watched quite a few games and have a sense of what a foul is. Everybody's definition and threshold for a foul is slightly different, and you will develop your own. Don't get too caught up in the differences between barging versus pushing versus jumping. If you see a rough or careless play, call it. And I would recommend erring on the side of calling a tighter game. When we get irate parents complaining about specific referees, it is definitely not because they called too much. It's because they called too little. If a game is starting to get a little rough, you may need to call some fouls to calm the players down. You should do this in the middle of the field. The penalty area is not a good place to call a management foul. For calling fouls or throw-ins, make sure you stop and your arm is straight at a 45-degree angle. ARs can tend to aim their flag behind them. They can use their index finger to get in the habit of pointing the flag in the same direction as their arm. For indirect free kicks, your arm should be straight up and hold it until at least the ball is kicked. The official guidance is that you should keep your arm up until the ball touches another player, goes out of play, or it is clear that a goal cannot be scored directly. Here are two examples of when this can be very important. One, if there are two attackers close to the ball at the IFK and the initial kick is just a small tap, you should lower your arm right after the first touch has occurred so there is no confusion whether or not the ball has been put in play. But if the initial kick is a long ball going toward the goal, you should keep your arm up until touched by another player. Make sure your arm is straight up to avoid any confusion with other signals. For determining if a ball has been kicked initially, it cannot be just a tap. The traditional definition is it has to move from here to there. That is open to your interpretation, but here are some examples. These kicks do not qualify as a first touch because the ball does not really move. Sometimes there is some movement, but the ball rolls back to its original spot, meaning it did not get from here to there, so does not qualify. In these kicks, the ball does clearly move, so it does qualify. Sometimes the movement is very small. It doesn't have to go a full rotation. It just has to move from here to there. ARs should be sidestepping to stay with the second to last defender, but if needed, turn and run with the flag always between themselves and the center referee. To signal, an AR should stop, make the proper signal, and then continue once eye contact is made with the referee. You may need to raise your flag quickly to signal the ball went out, but do not switch hands in the air if you need to signal the other direction. Drop it below your waist and re-raise with the correct hand. Based on instructions from your center referee, if the ball is barely in, you may need to show the appropriate hand signal. Similarly, if an active player is onside, you should show the hand signal for that as well. For long balls, it helps to note in your mind who touched it last. Sometimes a ball is kicked long and there's a whole lot of activity that you are focusing on. By the time it goes out, you've forgotten who touched it last. Calling offsides is an acquired skill that you will get better and better at the more you do it. My advice to new ARs is to stay focused on the second to last offender and make sure you're lined up properly. We use our right arm to indicate offside. Hold straight up until the center referee makes eye contact and then point to the far, middle, or near side of the field.
A common observation we see from mentors is that the AR is watching the game too much, meaning they're not focusing on the second to last offender. A good rule of thumb is 6% of your focus should be on the second to last offender, maybe 30% watching for kicks going out, meaning throw-ins, and maybe 10% for fouls on the field. If the game has a very deep defender and offside is not really coming into play, sure, go ahead and focus a lot more on the throw-ins. I've never seen a game decided on a marginal call on a throw-in, whereas a missed offside call can have a big effect on a game.
Now for other restarts. Goal kick. When the ball goes out of play over the goal line, the center should use their left arm and point to the goalie area. Technically, it can be either arm and pointed straight, but if we used our left arm, then we are getting in the habit of looking at our AR with good eye contact. If we angle down slightly, it helps others understand the call correctly. A lazy arm signal can be confused with a corner kick, especially if people are looking into the sun. And then the referee should backpedal into position in anticipation of the goal kick. The AR should follow the ball all the way to the goal line and put their arm straight out to signal the goal kick. For corner kicks, the referee should stop, face the goal line, and their arm should be at 45 degrees out and 45 degrees up. They should use the appropriate arm to indicate which corner. The AR should follow the ball all the way to the goal line and point down at a 45-degree angle with their right arm. If they are already on the goal line, they should step up the touch line and then perform their signal. They should then place themselves right along the goal line for the best vantage point for the kick. For penalty kicks, with a clear foul, as soon as you blow your whistle, point right at the PK mark while moving toward it. If you saw something but are not sure who fouled whom, take a couple minutes to confer with your AR, which is absolutely fine. Try to keep your vision to the field while discussing. If you determine that a penalty kick is warranted, move briskly toward the mark and point at it while blowing your whistle. For the PK, the near AR should come out to where the goal line meets the penalty area. The keeper needs to have at least 1 foot on or above the goal line, and all other players except the attacker taking the penalty kick need to be outside the penalty area and the arc, no closer to the goal line than the penalty mark. They cannot encroach until after the ball is kicked. Especially in younger divisions, the center ref should take time to make sure all players understand the procedure and instruct the kicker to wait for the whistle. For drop balls, there is no signal. Just use your voice and manage the process. Remember, only one team is present at a drop ball. It is the last team to have touched the ball, but most refs wait to blow the ball dead until they see one team has clear possession. If it's in the penalty area, it goes to the goalie, no matter what. You should conduct it so there is no advantage to the restart itself, especially in the attacking half. For example, you may want to stand between the ball and the goal so nobody is trying to get a quick lob shot in. It is a sporting way to restart the game, not a free kick. A drop ball must hit the ground first. It cannot be kicked directly into the goal. For throw-ins, when the ball goes out over the touchline, the referee and AR should establish eye contact and try to coordinate their arm signal. If there seems to be a disagreement, sometimes a quick verbal comment such as "glanced off red" will remedy the situation. Don't be afraid to use your voice. The throwers are allowed a couple of yards to wander up the touchline. Try not to be too exacting, but make sure they are not taking advantage. Watch for bad throw-ins. feet lifting, stepping over line, baseball-like throws. However, I find many of the calls for bad throws are not proper. The laws of the game do not mention much about the mechanics of a throw-in, just that it has to be with two hands from behind the head and over the head, with both feet on the ground, on or behind the touch line. Here are some examples of throw-ins that do not violate the laws of the game. As long as the hands come from behind the head to over the head, it's legal, even if it looks a little funny. And while you cannot lift your feet during a throw, if you lift your feet or a foot after the ball is out of your hands, the throw-in is over and it is valid. Or if you lift your foot and it's still in contact with grass, it is still considered on the ground. And if a ball thrown in breaks the plane of the touch line at all, even if in the air, and then lands off the pitch, that is a valid throw, and it is considered having gone in and out and is now the other team's throw-in. As a referee in younger divisions, it is up to you to decide how tightly you're going to call bad throw-ins. Some referees are a little more forgiving in the early part of the season, some giving them a break in the first half and then tighten things up in the second half. You need to read the game. They are bunching up and displaying bad soccer, maybe just a reminder. But if they are more competitive and showing a higher level of understanding, sure, call a bad throw-in. I often suggest that if you wish you had a slow motion replay to see if it was a proper throw or not, let it go. The main thing to remember is there should be good eye contact between the referee and the AR throughout the throw-in process. The AR should not travel past the halfway line. If your region is calling offside in U10 at the build-out line, the AR should not go past the build-out line. If one AR has raised her flag for an offside or a foul, and the center referee has not seen her, the other AR should raise his flag to get the attention of the center referee and indicate the other AR has raised her flag. Last, we have procedures for goals. In soccer, we do not signal for what just happened like in American football. In American football, we blow our whistle and we say things like, "We just had holding," or "We just had clipping." In soccer, when a ball goes out, we signal that we now have a throw-in, or we now have a goal kick, or we now have a free kick after a foul. For a goal, a center referee should take a second to make eye contact with his AR. After we have a goal, the next thing we do is a kickoff. So the proper signal for a goal is to point to the center circle to let everybody know we are about to have a kickoff. There is no specific AR signal for a goal. After a goal in soccer, we have a kickoff, so the AR needs to sprint up the line in anticipation of the kickoff. In other words, we just had a goal, now we are having a kickoff and I'm getting in position. If there is confusion, the AR may choose to verbalize his or her confirmation that it was a goal. If a ball went fully into the goal but got pushed back out and play continues, the AR should remain at the goal line with his or her right arm up in the air with the flag and wiggle it until the center notices. Once eye contact is made, the AR puts his flag at his side and runs up the touchline. Usually, no whistle is required for a goal.
That's a goal!
You whistle to initiate the ensuing kickoff.
Okay, let's talk whistling. The most common issue we have with first-timers is either blowing too often or blowing too softly. If you see a foul, sure, let them know you want to call it. If the ball's just kind of going out, red team, blue throw in, try not to overuse your whistle. If you're worried about somebody coming in on a keeper, sure, if you just want to alert somebody, maybe a player's taking a throw in too far from the point of exit, a couple, so vary your whistle.
So, you've started the game and you're doing a great job managing play, but we are coming up to the first break. You should blow your whistle and signal what we do next, which is go to the sideline for water.
Water break!
At halftime, we blow 2 whistles and point to the center circle. At end of game, it's 3 whistles and point to the center circle. And the good news is that you do not have to do this alone. Most regions have a great mentor program that will help you get up to speed on your first day. Assistant referees will get live guidance during the match, and center referees will get feedback at water breaks, halftime, and postgame. That's it for this video. Look for our next video, which covers managing advantage, dissent, and postgame activities. Special thanks goes out to
Bill Barnum, Region 34, referee mentoring.
Awesome, thank you.
Shelly Bellatori, Region 34, South Redondo.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Richard Zavala, Redondo Beach, AYSO Region 34.
Ford Hayes, Redondo Beach, Region 34.
Region 84, Mission Viejo. I'm Joel Roth.
Okay. Hey, name and region,
Region 34, South Redondo Beach.
and your name.
Kirk Reader.
Name and region.
Rafael Ariano, Region 136, Area 1G,
Where's that?
Fontana, California.
Fontana. Awesome.
I am Sarah Greenberg. I am Region 1455, which is Ladera Ranch. I am